In a world desperate to tear itself apart, only one man, and some other people, stand in the way of total destruction. Together they will right the wrongs, make bad good, and single-handedly destroy evil, together. Who is this man, you may ask? This man is Jeff.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Jeff Jones and Friends Make It Better, the show that takes life's little annoyances, adds a beat, a donk, a drop, some Ed Sheeran vocals, and quite simply makes it better. On this episode, I'm joined by stand-up comedian Matt Roseblade. Matt, how are you?
Hello, Jeff. I'm very well, thank you.
Great to hear. Great to hear. So without any further ado, what is it we are making better today?
Shyness.
Shyness, as in the act of being shy.
Yes. It's it can be considered, well, as Morrissey once said, shyness is nice, but really shyness, like Morrissey, no, not nice.
Not nice. I always get mixed up. Not mixed up, but kind of confused myself about it being introvert and shyness and things. But we'll get more into that in a bit of my own kind of misassumptions about it. But go, what is it that that annoys you so much about shyness? You shy yourself?
I used to suffer dreadfully from shyness, and again, as Morrissey said, it can stop you from doing all the things in life you'd like to. And yeah, on that one, he was right. It stops you from speaking to people. It stops you from engaging people. It stops you from doing things that you really should do. They say that the only thing you should regret is the things you didn't try. And shyness really is very good at stopping you from doing the things that you should try. Yeah, it may be considered coy and charming and delightful, but no, it's just a pain in the ass. It's not a good thing. It's not a good attribute, and it should be discouraged. I used to describe shyness as a sort of malevolent parrot that sits on your shoulder going, you can't do that, don't talk to them, they don't like you, look at you, you look ridiculous. And it really is a bastard.
Yeah. It is. So you suffered quite badly, did you?
Oh God, yes. And many people in stand-up did, and I think that we've used it as a form of therapy.
I used to think, I never thought I was shy. I thought I was a kind of introvert, extrovert, or something. I kind of, these labels that fly around that I never really quite understand what it is. And it was actually, as I was reading up for this episode, where I kind of read a bit of a breakdown and differences between shyness, and you can be an introvert and be shy, but they're not actually a kind of requisite of each other. You can be one or the other, and actually there's just a lot of mislabeling that happens and misunderstanding. And the fact you can be an extrovert and still be shy, because I was reading through the kind of the attributes of being shy, the sweating, the chest, the heartbeat, the feeling sick, and those things I get. I say, but I'm actually quite good in social environments, although I always probably go too far because I know the need for everyone to love me, but then I have that terrible regret after, which is also as apparently kind of an attribute to shyness, that people are now judging me. And so I've kind of learned something, that I think I'm a shy extrovert, which I didn't think was possible.
I think it's very possible, and I think it's quite possible to be sometimes extrovert, sometimes introvert. We have a finite pool of social energy. Yeah, I can be the life and soul of the party for a while, and then after a little while, I think I don't want to talk to anyone anymore.
Yeah,
I can't actually talk to anyone anymore. There are barriers coming up to stop me from engaging anymore. Just let me refill my tanks. And I don't know if that's shyness, introvert, extrovert, or just another one of those labels, which I can't remember what the exact one is. So if I make one up, that'll probably have as much credibility as the actual label. So
I do that all the time. Don't worry. It's actually set with confidence.
Your way through.
Yeah, but because I think social anxiety is the thing, especially social anxiety as an adult often incorporates alcohol and things like that as well. To try and break the barrier. It kind of opens up, I suppose, a conversation of mental health, but also people's personality traits. And do you know what, though? There's not much I hate more than just being put in a situation with other people that I don't really know and having to speak, deal, be interested, be that desire that you speak to people or you interact with someone, and you don't want them to think that you're boring. And it kind of puts a lot of kind of anxieties on. And do you find that being shy, you would just completely avoid that situation to an extent?
I certainly used to, and even now, I still don't like mixed environments where there's a lot of people I don't know, but also a lot of people I do know, because I find that my instinct is to lazily just stick and chat to the people I do know. If I'm in a situation where I don't know anybody, I actually quite like that.
Yeah.
Because everybody else is in the same position. I mentioned blagging a couple of minutes ago and confidence. Everybody is equally shy, equally shitting their pants, apart from a few weirdos. So just by knowing that everybody else is frightened and failing and worrying, if I can start up a conversation with a few people, be a bit effusive. I find the older I've got increasingly camp. And I haven't got to the bottom of that one yet, but I do find that I'm really quite camp in my conversations, which I actually enjoy. I've always actually felt that's my natural state. I've always enjoyed camp entertainers, but we've gone down a very weird rabbit hole.
Yeah. I sorry, just to interrupt very quickly, but I understand what you're saying, and I think that I love that, because I myself, quite kind of, I suppose, quite flamboyant. I use a lot of gestures, but I think there's a lot to be said just about being comfortable in yourself in that situation. Then, so even if you have this shyness and things, if you can talk as who you are, and actually, I think what you said about enjoying actually a situation where you don't know anyone, you're right, because something I've taught myself is, and I had to really force it upon me, instead of dwelling for weeks and weeks about the opinions of others, is I'm never going to see these people again, hopefully. So actually, their opinion of me doesn't make any difference either, which is why
I know maybe that's. It does. You said earlier you wanted to be loved. I want to be loved, and
in the
you
moment,
want a room full of strangers going, "Who was that man? He was fabulous."
Definitely, but if you make an ass of yourself, then you have to be able to move on. Because I always worry that oh my God, they're going to think that I've tried to be in too much of an entertainer, to center of attention and things like that, which probably comes from some kind of childhood thing. Being the youngest. I know it's a rabbit hole you could spend, because it all just leads onto another thread, doesn't it? Another personality trait.
Yes, and very few of us are solidly in one particular personality pigeonhole all the time. So we flirt around, and sometimes we can control it, and sometimes we can't. I do find that whilst I have more or less beaten shyness, sometimes it just comes up and swipes me completely.
Yeah.
And unexplained reasons I genuinely can't do such and such. Obviously, I can't think of any examples now because I didn't prepare enough for this.
But I find it's if I'm in a situation where I feel like I'm probably the dumbest person in the room, then either I'll go really shy, or I'll make up for it in being the entertainment, which then essentially makes me into the court jester, which I then think about for days after.
Understand completely. I do the same thing. I more or less did a show on this. I am the one-eyed man in the land of the blind, social skills wise, because I work in IT. But equally, I left school with no qualifications, whereas most of my peers are graduates, doctors of mathematics and and I quietly have to turn my back and count on my fingers. But I'm able to start conversations, keep conversations entertaining, and remember things that they tell me, and understand things that they tell me. The ability to learn quickly. Fucking hell, that's saved my life so many times. Well, not saved my life. I'm being melodramatic there, but carry on.
But also with Google now, it's fantastic. Just being able to, you're on this subject. Let me just quickly Google it. I pride myself on knowing a little bit about a lot of things, and I think this has purely been some kind of coping mechanism where I can hold a conversation, and to be fair, doing this podcast has, I think, proven that I can talk about anything from love triangles in literature to the Marvel Cinematic Universe to dog psychology, and now Shyness. I could get through a good 20-30 minute conversation on all these subjects now. And almost, although apart from through editing, I won't listen to the episode because I just cringe at myself. The fact that I'm doing is almost an embarrassment, which again is ridiculous as someone who I suppose wants to, in some form, be in an entertainment world.
We do all cringe at our own voices. Don't worry about it. We still love the sound of it in our heads, but it's only when we hear a recording.
Do you know what? And I always say that
I think I sound like this. Like I think I got this kind of quite high native voice.
And it wasn't until someone pointed out that said, well, to sound like that, Jeff, you actually have to put the voice on. So how can you sound like that if you don't? Okay, that does kind of make sense, doesn't it? There's also, a camera puts £20 on you, and all these kind of things. You just don't look or feel the same when it's being projected back at you. How did you overcome shyness?
It was a war of attrition, really, but doing the stand-up helped a lot, because it just put me in so far outside of my comfort zone. The story I tell is that when I realized I was going to go on stage, shyness was really beasting me. Remember I said it was a parrot on my shoulders going, you're going to be shit, you can't do that, no one's going to laugh, they're going to laugh at you, but not in the right way. It really set to work on me. But when I ignored it and got up on stage, shyness was screaming, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. But when I got on stage, it didn't come with me, and I got on stage and suddenly, hey, I'm this confident person, and I really was free of shyness on stage. I am very relaxed on stage or doing a presentation. I don't even get butterflies anymore, which possibly means I'm a psychopath.
Yeah. But do you think that could be in some way because it's not a two-way conversation? So you're saying exactly what you want to say, and yes, okay, there's the reaction. You need that reaction from a crowd, whether it be stand-up or a presentation. But obviously, there's not that instant potential challenge that you could get from a one-on-one conversation, which I don't know, always sits at the back of the head that someone's going to say something and you're not going to know the answer. I mean, is that, I may never have thought about it, but
I'm very comfortable with not knowing the answer. I work in technology. We pride ourselves on not. Now, let me rephrase this. It's no shame to not know the answer.
Yeah.
Because we have a contact, we all have a network of technical professionals. We can get our customers the right answer. What we don't do is wing it, blag it, make something up.
Yeah.
So being caught out with something I can't answer, no problem at all, mate. I can get back to you on that when I will get the right answer.
No problem not knowing the right answer, as long as that person has tried switching it off and on again.
You don't want to switch off the systems I work with. You'll bring down a bank.
And see, no, now that's you just showing me the big red button. And I'd say, what kind of, when you discuss being, I'd say actually, just in my brief stint, kind of exploring comedy, which I keep promising myself I'll go back to, but you were obviously the first person who gave me a bit of stage time. And I've been remember being outside in Portsmouth, just kind of changing the material I was going to do, and just completely fretting. And I was stood outside, and I was wearing this stupid jacket, which basically screamed like performer, but more of a, I don't know, Phoenix Nights kind of situation. This kind of red, I love the jacket, it's red kind of velvety thing, but and there's this couple were outside. I said, "Hey, are you performing tonight?" I was like, "Oh yeah, first night." I said, don't. We've just been to see Jack Whitehall at the Portsmouth Guildhall, and it was great. So yeah, I'm sure you'll do fine. Like, how does that? First of all, how does that help? But because Jack Whitehall, who's been doing it for so long, and enjoys comedy or not, he's very accomplished with it. But how can a professional comedian who's been doing it for 10 years mean that I'm going to do well? I just thought, you have not relaxed me at all. Like, what's that? But you, baby, you were very good. You handled the crowd very well, the crowd expectation, and people politely kind of given and clapped at the end of it. And I came off it thinking, well, that was that was all right. But yeah, I'd never forget that. Oh, we've seen Jack Whitehall, so yeah, I'm sure you'll be fine. But
Yeah, I think that what they mean is that, like, if that posh lad with all his nepotism can do it, I'm sure you, without any of those connections, can do it.
that's it. Yeah, yeah. I was going to ask you. But how do people react to if you just when you discuss shyness? I mean, do you get that? But you do stand up comedy, but you MC. You do these talks and presentations. Do you find that they can't correlate the two as well? Is it?
In terms of beating shyness?
Yes, yeah. That whole
Yes.
how can you be shy and be a stand up comedian?
Well, that's very easy.
Do you get challenged a lot on kind of
No,
the correlation between the two?
no, I should do, but as I said, the shyness doesn't come with me when I'm on stage, and I think a lot of other acts with some significant social anxiety find the same, in that they can get on stage and if not become somebody else, become somebody who has a microphone, who has an audience, somebody who doesn't have to fight for their place in the conversation.
Yeah.
When you're doing a presentation and you're new, when you're doing a comedy and you're new, you will use a lot of ers and ums, a lot of filler words, because we're used to conversations where we have to keep making a sound, otherwise some prick will come and butt in. You leave any rhetorical silences, someone's in there.
Yeah.
But when you're on stage, you have the privilege and the position and for want of a better expression, the expert power to dominate the conversation.
Yeah.
You don't have to fight for the attention. And I think that is a great revelation, that without having to compete to be heard, you can become I'm talking myself into a corner here, Jeff. I think what I'm saying is that being able to have a monologue in public with people paying attention is really good for the soul.
Yeah.
Not always good for the audience, but fuck them, they shouldn't have come.
They chose to be there.
And because you're not constantly competing, you can develop. I'm going to do a tired and dreadful and possibly inaccurate metaphor here. It's when primitive man started farming so that they had an easy availability of food, then they could develop science and technology and all sorts of things. But when they were just hunter-gatherers, everything was dedicated to gathering food. So when you're not socially strong and you're having a conversation with other people, you find that your voice isn't heard, and oh man, this whole effect. The more I talk about it, the more it's bollocks.
Yeah, but that's it. Speak confidently about it. But it does, because I mean, I speak to my children a lot about their various kind of teenage ages, or a couple of adults and as well. But they've always been kind of quite quiet, especially my daughter. Quite quiet, but always with something to say, and I think then gets frustrated. So you kind of has that kind of maybe blurting reaction where, right, let's say I'm going to talk, and I'm just going to get everything out, and people will think, well, hang on, what on earth just happened there? And you've got one of my sons who is kind of the performer, and he cannot handle silence. Kind of, I'm quite comfortable with a question answer situation, ask questions, sit in silence, let someone or just being quiet being in a situation where no one talks, but he has to feel that noise, whereas my daughter won't. She says what she has to say, then and the conversation's done. That's fine, and she'll end the conversation quite abruptly, but he cannot just sit there and have this quietness. And I think it's two ends of maybe the same thing, whereas he's quite shy, but feels uncomfortable if no one's talking. It's almost like people are, I don't know, thinking about him or anything. Whereas my daughter,
I understand that completely.
Yeah,
it's such a battle for me to not fill the silence with inane bollocks. All right, that's my phone going, Jeff, but it's almost certainly somebody from an Indian call center, and I will just be deeply pleasant, unpleasant to them.
That's you go.
Oh, it's okay. It's hung up.
Okay.
I'm afraid I do often say, yes, that was a credit card payment that I made. I was downloading a film of your mother sucking a dog's cock.
Do you know what? I was gonna edit that out, but now I have to keep it in. That's so I did. I tell this, and I'd like your opinion of it, because everyone I've told has, most people have said it's not right. But when we first moved house and we phone line connected, and you get just someone sold the data, or it's from a number from wherever it's been used before, but everyone in the world seems to have it, and they call you up, and I'd get yeah, cool, and I answer the phone. Oh, can I speak to Mrs. Peabody, please? Oh, well, I'm terribly sorry, but this is the wake. You've interrupted the wake, her wake, yeah. And I beg your pardon. Says, yeah, I'm afraid she passed away. And I'm terribly sorry. I said, so sorry, what is it you called for? Oh, no, it doesn't matter. I said, no, can you please? And and apparently that's not only extremely cruel, but I think there's a point where you get so many of these, you have to start fighting back.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Jeff. I think you're doing the right thing. Sometimes I am benevolent, and yeah, if they sound pleasant, I'll just say, look, I'm really sorry, but you may not know this, but you are working for criminals, and you're bringing shame on your family. Please find a better job. And other times, it's like, oh, I just love that bit where your mother's covered in dog spunk.
Oh, dear, I think it's taken a bit of a turn, but it does. But yeah, having the confidence to say that to someone turns, but it is a pet peeve of mine. And I spent 6 months selling credit cards over the phone. I was 21 or something, and I was just looking for something, so I didn't have to work 70 hours a week. It was just an office thing, and found this, and I spent six months doing it, and I realized it was time to quit when I sat talking to I think she was elderly woman for 10 minutes, purely to flog a credit card to her. So I was listening to all the little stories and all these things, and I was saying how, well, do you know how the card will benefit you by doing this? I got off that call, and the manager came over and said, "Oh, nice one, Jeff." I was like, "Yeah, do you know what? I don't think this is this isn't me. I'm not that. I'm quite happy to be a salesman, but I'm not getting a high five for giving someone a credit card who's 80 and never needed one in their entire life." I think so. I was 20 then, and the thing is, though, that sales environment. So I went from there. So I went from working, being kind of one of the managers at a pub, bar manager at a pub, at a young age, from 18. So maybe I was a little bit older when I moved to the credit cards. But so being in a nice local pub, you're kind of performing behind the bar, speaking to the regulars, chatting to people. Then moving into my first sales role, and you realise it's a character, and you're putting on this. And I think it just keeps reinforcing. And then, but I suffer with this kind of, I know, guilt, and maybe it was stemmed from shyness, or I don't know what I thought was introversy, but it's actually extrovert. And I don't know. Is it just a thing that essentially people are just generally fucked up at least a little bit in some way?
Oh, God, yes, absolutely. Like I said, the room full of strangers, nobody really wants to be the first one to speak. But, and then, almost always delighted. Oh, someone's spoken to me.
Yeah. But if they speak too loudly, then, oh God, this person's a bit annoying. If they chew loudly or drink or gulp and all these things, and all of a sudden, though, I then do what I'm worried everyone else is doing to me by judging me. I'm like, no, I can't. I now have to get away from this person because they talk too aggressively and they eat too loudly.
Yes. So yes, sorry, you're a slurper. This conversation has to end.
It does, yeah. Like, right, you seem to be dribbling a lot, or spitting. You're spitting lots of crumbs and spittle everywhere. I'm terribly sorry, but I must never speak to you ever again. But I think, always be polite. Always be polite, because you never know when that person is going to be your next boss or father-in-law, which happened to me, or they say. But I think it's like, ultimately this program. So had a great chat, and I've learned a lot from the pre-prep, not from you, Matt, from the pre-prep. No, from you.
From the pre-prep, yes. I've just rambled.
From you and the pre-prep. But ultimately the aim of this is we've got to make it better. We've got to make Shyness better, and we obviously eradicating it all for once and for good would be fantastic.
So I'm going to cut across here because we are short of time, and this is just what I said, that people will butt in and when there's a space. Shyness can be beaten by doing things that Shyness absolutely hates, like performing stand-up, like doing public speaking, like standing up and making what Shyness thinks is an idiot of yourself, when in fact you're not making an idiot of yourself. You're making a great example of yourself. You're taking on some leadership. You're taking on some responsibility. You are standing up. You are speaking. You are leading. You are guiding. You're doing all the things that Shyness would never want you to do. And those things are quite easy to do because there are good support networks for those. For comedy in the local scene, there's people who will nurture you and guide you. If you want to do professional public speaking, there's the Toastmasters Club, where again we will nurture and support and guide you. There are ways and means that for almost no cost to kick Shyness right in the knackers.
Okay, so challenge it is the way forward.
Don't ever indulge it.
And the thing is as well, and if it's not the big, if it's not the standard, not everyone can be as funny as us, Matt. But no, it's not for everyone. But there are reading groups where you go read out loud. You go read for children, read for the elderly, anything with an audience or a group of people who are looking at you, or you're the center. I suppose it's a great thing. Be a dog walker, or maybe not, but that situation where where you're out of a comfort zone. You don't have to step too far out of it, I guess, but little steps. And I love that, Matt. And I actually shouldn't have spoken after what you just said, because I've quite devalued it, because I thought that was absolutely lovely. But I'm filling the silence, you see. Okay, well, I've thoroughly enjoyed that, Matt, and if people listen and people take your advice and put it into place, then hey, hopefully there'll be a few less shy people in the world. Right, last thing before we sign up to credit cards, sign off for the day. Is there, what are you working on at the moment? Have you got anything coming up? Anything in the works?
Yes. We've got Comedy at the Fat Fox, of course, first Wednesday of every month. There's still a few tickets left for the 1st of February. Do not turn up and hope to get in on the door, because we tend to sell out, although it's another week to go. But there's also the new material open mic night at the Rose in June. I can't remember the dates at the moment, but have a look at the Puns and Roses Facebook page. I'm taking a show to Brighton Fringe, which I haven't written yet or even decided on a title. Currently, it's Matt Roseblade, Better Than Sex, which is not about me being better than sex. It's about what happens when a man gets to the point where his libido has left the building. What else is there to do? I do have more than enough material, but I don't think anybody wants to hear a 56-year-old man talking about his impotence for an hour. So I will be inviting guests to make their own contributions about what is better than sex. So that's scheduled for 3 dates in May. Again, I've forgotten them. That's another thing. You get old, you forget things, and your cock drops off.
I just want to say that there's actually nothing I'd like more than to listen to an hour or two of a 56-year-old man discussing impotence. But that's
something you want to share, Jeff.
Yeah. 40. Sidestep that one. But that sounds fantastic.
It wasn't about your age.
Sorry, misunderstanding. But if. So just to clarify, so Puns and Roses and Comedy at the Fat Fox, both Portsmouth based in Hampshire in the UK.
Yes.
I'll put the links in the bio. So I've put the links in and update when
thank you very much, Jeff. One more thing. As this podcast will be going out to people outside of the Portsmouth area, almost every country in the world, every city has a Toastmasters club. Toastmasters International. It's a fairly wanky name, but it's a brilliant organization to encourage public speaking and leadership, just taking responsibility for things. You should get a warm welcome. It will get you through your nerves, get you to remove filler words from your speeches. There are, there's structured training to make you into a more competent and confident public speaker. There's a serious plug there, wasn't it?
There you go. That was fantastic.
Even
and
cough through it.
I am not going to fill the void after that. What I'm going to say is that thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And thank you so much, Matt, for joining me on this episode. When we come around for round 2 or series 2 of this, we'll get you back on and see how the Brighton show went. And yes, all that's left for me to do is say until next time, thank you and goodbye. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Jeff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.